Thanks, Lynn. Next, we'll have a question from Michael Kirsch.
Good evening. Lynn, I would like to ask you a question that came in from Jacques Cheminade, twice candidate for president of France, 1995 and 2012, and currently subject to financial harassment by the Interior Ministry and the seizure of over $200,000 of campaign funds. He asks, Mr. LaRouche, and this question came in on May 15th. Mr. LaRouche, I know that you have been impressed and worried when you were recently in Europe by the prevailing pessimism in the population, and even in our own European organizations. The French appear to be, in all polls, the most pessimistic of all Europeans, together with the Greeks and the Spaniards. That's why I am the one asking this question. As an American doctor, what would be your suggestion to prop up the Europeans? Of course, both our Glass-Steagall mobilization in the United States and the trend towards an impeachment or departure of Obama, which is now mentioned in the French press, are both excellent news to revive the spirits here. But what else do you have in your first aid kit to inspire a surge of creative imagination? Jacques Cheminade.
Well, first of all, the problem is, as Jacques knows, is that since de Gaulle was dropped out of office in France, there has not been much in Europe that's worth talking about. You know, when you look at the history of the United States, we find in our nation, we find a kind of sovereignty which is natural to our Constitution, as European constitutions really generally are sloppy on this respect relative to our U.S. Constitution. And when we fail, when we become sloppy, we become very disgusting to ourselves in the United States. But we have a legacy going back to the formation, even to the earlier period in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. We have had in the United States a legacy of achievement for which no nation on this planet can match, on record. It's not that we want to cheat them of the right to have that kind of authority. It's they just don't like it, because they were conditioned by the Roman Empire all the way through the British Empire. And the British Empire is literally an empire, which is traced directly from the Roman Empire. It's a very evil phenomenon. There are all kinds of things that go on there, different varieties, different reactions, and so forth. But essentially, the British Empire is something you want no part of, at least not being inside it. And that's the crucial thing. Our problem is we do not yet, and this is even in the case of Glass-Steagall, very few people who study Glass-Steagall and think they know it, think they understand the rules, understand the mechanisms, really don't. Because there are considerations involved which they haven't taken into account. But that's what the essential issue is. We in the United States, and just think about it, we in the United States, if we do what we are capable of doing by virtue of the character of our Constitution and its origins, which go back to Nicholas of Cusa, that tradition is unique. We have that as our property, as our specifically inherited property. We often repudiate it, but we find the elements of it, as in our Constitution, are still there. Europe, the European nations, are slop compared to our nation. We make terrible mistakes. We are shameful in what we don't do, is what we do. But we have the legacy, and this organization does have an increasingly accurate insight into what that legacy is, what creativity is. But the difference is we represent that. Therefore, the world as a whole, take China and its problems, take Japan and its problems, Take India and its problems. Take Asia Minor and its problems. Take Europe and its problems, both Western and Central Europe as its problems. There's nothing in these areas which can match the natural ability of this nation, our United States, when it functions on the basis of its founding principles from the Massachusetts Bay Colony and so forth upward. There's no nation on this planet which has our capability. But it is not something for us to, like misers, hold in our own little pot. Our mission is to give that which we have, which is good, to the world as a whole.